Coming up in NBN News, the warning from residents over the Stockton Beach erosion crisis. A Woodbury home goes up in flames and the Knights coach sees the best and worst of the side's loss to the Dragons. That's next. Tonight, the moving memorial for the 25 lives lost in the bushfire disaster.
They died as heroes, selfless individuals paying the ultimate price.
A city in lockdown, police shoot a man dead in Brisbane's CBD. The coroner prepares to hand down his findings into the Dreamworld ride tragedy. Plenty of feeling as the Maoris overpower the Indigenous All-Stars. And Australia's First Lady of Class and Style, June Daly-Watkins, passes away, aged 92.
This is NBN News with Jane Goldsmith.
Good evening. It was our black summer that started in spring, a bushfire season worse than any other in living memory. It took lives and livelihoods, leaving many to start from scratch in the charred earth. Today, those left behind lit 25 candles, one for every life lost, and promised never to forget the brave and the fallen.
Geoffrey Keaton, Deputy Captain of the Horsley Park Rural Fire Brigade.
Damien Ryan, NBN News.
A man has been shot dead by police in Brisbane's CBD following several minutes of madness in which a tourist was chased down the street and stabbed in the back. Police say the attack was unprovoked and they turned their guns on him when he came at them with a knife.
Guns drawn in a busy CBD. Seconds later, a man shot dead.
Julian Assange's lawyers have expressed outrage over what appears to be secret recordings of their privileged legal meetings with the Australian inside Ecuador's embassy in London. The revelation comes ahead of Assange's first hearing this week to determine if he'll be extradited to the United States.
It's a simple enough greeting caught on surveillance camera. One of Julian Assange's lawyers, Jeffrey Robertson QC, enters Ecuador's London embassy in January 2018.
The New South Wales Attorney-General has called for Australians to remain outraged over the scourge of domestic violence hitting the country. Speaking about the horrific deaths of Hannah Clark and her 3 children in Brisbane, Mark Speakman says men especially needed to be to do more to prevent a woman dying every week at the hands of her partner.
All Australia has to pick the ball up and run with it, but men especially. If you go down to domestic violence groups, activist groups and so on, you'll see a lot of women involved, but it's women who are bearing the burden of domestic violence. There is a total lack of male leadership in Australia.
It comes amid a surge in calls from both women and men to domestic violence helplines in the wake of the Brisbane tragedy. 2 people have been treated by paramedics after their home was gutted by fire in the Hunter this morning. 6 people had to be evacuated when the Woodbury property near Maitland went up just after 2 o'clock. One person suffered burns to their ear while another was treated for smoke inhalation. It's believed a candle was to blame. Fed up Stockton residents are now directing their frustration over the erosion crisis squarely at Newcastle City Council. In yet another protest this morning, they're warning all tiers of government they'll fight to the end to salvage their way of life.
Their beach weakening by the day, Stockton residents are only getting stronger.
People are angry now. You know, there's been an inaction for too long and it's time something happened.
Stephen Mount, NBN News.
A much-needed financial boost today for Abermain Rural Fire Service with around $2,000 donated at a fundraiser at where else but the local pub. 12 bands belted out plenty of classics to help raise vital funds.
We've had fires all around us over the season this year and it's been devastating and we're just trying to do our bit to pay back for the fires.
The money will go towards buying new equipment. It's already Newcastle's largest triathlon and it's now more popular than ever. This year's Spark Helmore Triathlon has seen a surge in the number of competitors and is now included in 2 major qualifying events.
It may traverse the foreshore, but this race is no walk in the park, though it didn't stop hundreds from taking on the challenge and their supporters filling the streets of Newcastle.
We've actually got 1,200 competitors this year, which is, in recent years, that's a new record.
Lauren Kemp, NBN News.
Later in the bulletin, Mitchell Hughes will have the Knights pre-season trial match report. And still to come, farewell to the Queen of Etiquette. We remember June Daly-Watkins following her passing aged 92. She was our first supermodel, but June Daly-Watkins endeared herself to generations of young men and women for so much more. She taught etiquette, style and manners, and in the process became one of our national treasures. June Daly-Watkins passed away peacefully in her sleep last night.
A country girl with perfect poise and model looks. June Daly-Watkins was both of her time and ahead of it.
It's been more than 3 years since 4 people were killed at Dreamworld on the Gold Coast, and tomorrow a coroner will hand down his findings in a Brisbane court. Cindy Lowe, Kate Goodchild, her brother Luke Dorset and his partner Ruzi Agari were killed when the Thunder River Rapids ride struck another raft and flipped. The inquest has probed the ride's maintenance and safety measures, hearing staff were overstretched and underprepared for serious incidents. The fun park's owner, Ardent Leisure, could face prosecution. A family who lost their home in a bushfire near Batemans Bay on the south coast has been dealt another heartbreaking blow. Before they had the chance to sift through the rubble for their personal treasures, the remains of their house have been cleared away without their permission.
A blank slab where their family home used to be.
We feel like there's no compassion.
Greg and Fiona Franklin's house was in ruins.
Coming up, ringing in a new era, a British icon receives a call-up to the future. Also, the truckie driving head-on into a whole lot of trouble. And the swarm that brought traffic to a stop. Bernie Sanders has widened his lead in the Democratic race for president with a landslide win in the Nevada caucus. The 78-year-old has pulled well ahead of former frontrunner Joe Biden, becoming the firm favourite to take on Donald Trump in November.
On stage in Texas, Bernie Sanders in front of fans, and tonight, well in front of the Democratic field.
There's a good chance you can't remember the last time you made a call from a public payphone. And if so, you're not alone. But while technology is making Britain's historic red phone boxes redundant, new ideas are giving them new life.
They're as British as Big Ben and London's double-decker buses. But mobile phones have meant the famous red phone boxes are falling out of favour.
The forecast was snowy with a chance of embarrassment for this journalist in North Carolina who transformed into everything from a wolf to a wizard during a weather report. The man was unaware a face filter generator was on during his live stream on Facebook. Oh, whoops. Yeah. It's time for sport now with Mitch Hughes. The All-Stars game lived up to its reputation, Mitch.
It certainly did. Plenty of showstoppers even before kick-off. Thanks, Jane. Ahead, Brandon Smith marks himself as a player to watch in the Maori win. And an early injury blow for the Knights before the start of the NRL season. The All-Stars clash on the Gold Coast last night was all class as the Maori beat the Indigenous side 30-16. But it was pre-game emotion from the players and their respect for 9-year-old Quaden Bales which really stole the show.
This game has always been about more than a result, now more than ever. Josh Addo-Carr paying homage to the anti-racism stance St Kilda great Nicky Winmar took.
Pre-season is a time where all fans can dream of premiership glory. So far, some clubs that struggled last season have looked strong in their opening trials.
Tyrone May making up for lost time.
Tyrone May with that blonde hair, he goes through a couple of them and the...
Newcastle coach Adam O'Brien believes he saw the best and worst of his side during last night's 38 points to 12 loss to the Dragons. In another blow, Sione Matautia suffered a knee injury that saw him leave the field early. A solid crowd filed into Maitland's #1 sports ground for the night's opening trial of 2020. Newcastle opened the scoring through Daniel Safiti and Chris Randall. After the break, another draw for the Jets in the A-League. And Tyson Fury's Right Royal ring entrance as he stakes his claim as the world's best heavyweight boxer. Tyson Fury is once again world heavyweight champion, defeating American Deontay Wilder in Las Vegas today. Fury dominated from the opening bell and won by technical knockout in the 7th round. Round 20 of the A-League wraps up tonight with the Mariners hosting Sydney FC. Approaching half-time, the home side is trailing 1-0. Last night, the Newcastle Jets played out another frustrating draw. The home side opened the scoring through Roy O'Donovan thanks to intervention from the VAR. Melbourne Victory responded shortly after half-time, setting up a frantic finish. The Jets were then denied what they felt was a certain penalty when Matt Miller was brought down. The Jets are now unbeaten in their past 4 games, but that stretch includes just 1 win. The debut of Wes Hoolahan has given fans more hope Newcastle can make a run at the finals. The Jets could have had 3 goals in the opening half. Arroyo could have had 2. The W-League Jets weren't so lucky against their Melbourne counterparts, suffering one of the worst defeats in club history this afternoon. The visiting Victory opened the scoring after just 2 minutes.
Plenty of heads there, bounces through, and there is the opening goal. Only 2 minutes gone.
The final of Northern New South Wales Football's Heritage Cup between Edgeworth and Adamstown has kicked off at West Wallsend's Johnston Park. Hosting the decider caps off a memorable weekend for the club. The Bluebells unveiled their new scoreboard yesterday, honouring former player Jared Humbo Hayter. The under-19 representative died in a work accident back in 2018. Jane, that's it.
Nice one, thank you, Mitch. Showers about the Upper Hunter right now. We'll check weather details next. Weather time now, some rain about the Upper Hunter and the northwest today, thankfully falling where it's needed most. Now, he usually brings you the weather shot on weeknights. Tonight, he's gone above and beyond. We have a couple of spectacular aerial shots from our own eye in the sky. Weatherman Gavin Morris, Gav's a keen paraglider, and made his way along the coast from Nobby's Beach to Red Head yesterday. Up to the satellite now, thick cloud over northern and eastern New South Wales with a trough is triggering showers and a few thunderstorms. Low cloud in the east with onshore winds is bringing a few showers. While on the synoptic chart for tomorrow, a tropical cyclone should make landfall and begin to weaken, causing rain, storms and wind about the Gulf. A trough in the east will cause showers and storms across Queensland, New South Wales, Victoria and possibly Tasmania. Zooming in, overcast skies today, but not much in way of rain or showers on the coast, but some isolated falls in the Upper Hunter. Pretty comfortable temperatures, a top of 24 for Nobby's, 26 for Nelson Bay, 26 also for Maitland, 21 for Murrurundi. Tomorrow, cloudy with a slight chance of a shower in the morning and the afternoon. Slightly warmer temperatures tomorrow, expecting 20 to 27 for Newcastle, 28 the top for Singleton and Muswellbrook, 27 for Merriwa and Toronto. Coastal waters information, seas and swell at just a metre, northeasterlies up to 15 knots. The sun to rise at 6:35 and set at 7:37, and the outlook for Newcastle, high 20s for the next couple of days, 33 degrees on Wednesday with a possible storm. Going ahead to Scone, expecting 30 for Tuesday, 32 on Wednesday with a possible storm and a light shower. And for Gosford, high 20s for the next couple of days, 32 and a possible storm on Wednesday with 2 millimetres expected. And of course, for more local news, sport and weather, just head to our website. And that is our bulletin for this evening.
From all of us here.
Good night.
Good night.